name's Pastor Bill. I'm the director of Life Bible College, and thank you for joining us today for the class of 2019. Yeah, 2 years in the making. Amen. Well, it is my great honor today to introduce to you the 2019 Life Bible College Commencement Speaker. And this speaker, he's been married for 24 years. He's the father of 2 teenage children, God bless his heart, who are eating all of his food. In 2002, he graduated from Washington State University at the top of his class with a degree in computer science and is currently working as a software engineer for Cradle Point here in Boise, Idaho. He started attending Life Church in 2006 and graduated from Life Bible College in 2012. Over the past 4 years, he has authored 2 books, developed and taught 3 courses for the Life Bible College, and has spoken at numerous engineering-related events, the most recent being at Boise State University. Please help me and welcome the commencement speaker for this afternoon, Tony Munson.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Pastor Bill. Everyone's third favorite LBC instructor is back in the saddle again. That's right. You can't get rid of me. I keep popping back up. First, let me welcome friends, family of the graduates themselves. Thank you for showing up to your own graduation. That's big of you. Any first-year students that are here today, thank you for showing up. This is going to be you next year. It's true. Supporting your LBC elders, I appreciate it. Second, I want to thank Pastor Mark, and I want to thank Pastor Bill for allowing me to be up here. It's truly an honor because I know that they're very protective of this, and just extending the offer to me is huge. Thank you very much, and know that it is an answer to prayer. Now, when Pastor Bill, he approached me 2 weeks ago, he extended me this opportunity. And the reasoning that he had was, we typically have people who are in full-time ministry coming through and they're giving the commencement address. You probably have a different perspective because you're not in full-time ministry. And if anybody knows me, I have a different perspective on just about everything. True. Yes. I tried to tone it down a little here. But it's not that one is better than the other. It's not that full-time ministry is better than a secular job. They're just different. He thought it might spice things up a little bit if I come in here and talk about things from sort of a secular perspective, how to walk this out once you graduate. A lot of us don't have the same opportunities to have an outflow for what we've learned as maybe someone who is going directly into the ministry field. I know some of you are, but you get the point. So let's first talk about the graduate accomplishments. I want to let you guys know that you guys are the equivalent of the Navy SEALs of Christendom. When you think about it, like how many people lost sleep, studied, reading books, giving up their Tuesdays and Thursdays, probably more involved in church than they've ever been, and you didn't quit. You didn't tap out. You are truly the elite. You're God's shock troops. I did some basic math, which I always look for an opportunity to use math in the real world anytime I can. And I think it came out to be 300 minutes per week over 8 months out of the year, 2 years. That is approximately 320 hours of in-classroom teaching. Another way I like to look at this is that's equivalent to about 640 Sunday messages if you just showed up on Sunday. Or yet another way would be 12 years approximately of coming to church on just Sunday. And that's crammed into 2 years. And this isn't ponies and rainbows teaching, hug until all of our problems go away type teaching. This is very broad and very deep. And that's what these graduates went through in the past 2 years. And let me point out for everyone who wasn't in Bible college, they had the exact same stressors that you all had while going to Bible college. potentially marriage problems, maybe some financial struggles, warring with disease in their body, getting that out of them, and they did it anyway. They didn't quit. So I'd like to give them a hand right now for that great accomplishment. Way to go, guys. This is huge. All right. We don't want to tempt them with pride. Right? It was a good accomplishment. So first, before I get into the guts of my message, which is to be a more effective doer of the word, how to have more of an outflow, I want to talk about some of the warnings. Right? These are like those yellow signs as you're driving down the freeway, ice on bridge, deer Xing. I hate it when deers X. Super annoying. These are things you need to watch out for. So the first one, help me out with this, guys and gals. Knowledge is only potential power. That's my first warning. Knowledge is only potential power. Or as I like to say, knowing and $9 will get you a small latte at Starbucks. And if you play your cards right, it might have some flavor in it. All right? Right? Knowing by itself is important, but just knowing doesn't get you where you want to go. What's the catalyst? Action. Action is the catalyst. Who here has been to an elementary school science fair? Okay, pretty much everyone. Right? What's the one project you're pretty much guaranteed to see? The volcano. Yep, you're going to see the volcano. Do you know what the volcano is? I will briefly explain it. So you take a piece of cardboard or plywood, and you build a volcano out of Play-Doh, clay, dough, and there's usually a glass that sits right in the middle, and it's filled with baking soda. But it's not super impressive in that state. What do you have to do? You have to add the vinegar. That's the catalyst to make the volcano overflow. And so what we need to do is we need to make sure as we leave this building, as we leave Life Bible College, that we're adding some vinegar to our baking soda knowledge. By itself, your volcano is not going to be super impressive with just knowing. We got to have some action there. That's the catalyst. Now we can read in 1 Corinthians 8:1, this is going to be amplified. Knowledge alone makes people self-righteously arrogant, but love that unselfishly seeks the best for others builds up and encourages others to grow. This is one of the key reasons that we poured so much information into you guys over the last 2 years. As you walk in love, which you're instructed to do, one of your primary purposes is to build up and encourage others. This is what that knowledge is going to enable you to do more effectively. All this growing and training for the past 2 years, was not for you. It was for others. That's why you were here. So let's not get confused. It's not an academic exercise or I just felt like going so I could feel better about my Christian walk. No, it was for others. How many people in this room right now are sick and tired of broken families, emotionally tormented friends, confusion, sickness, poverty? Every hand should go up, right? Thank you. Well, I've got good news for you. Here's your answer right here. This is your answer. God-fearing men and women, fully equipped, getting out into the communities, into their families, into their businesses, changing hearts, which ultimately changes actions. That fixes the problem. So God is doing exactly what he said he would do, training up disciples. We're the answer. So that's some shouting news right there. I like how I can just demand things. It's offering time. Bring it right up. So there are people right now sitting out in your future that are going to benefit from what you've done. You're going to change their lives. You may not see it right now, but it's going to happen. I guarantee it. My last warning, before I get into the guts of my message, I only have 20 minutes, so don't worry, guys. You'll be all right. You guys know way too much now to go back to just a standard, middle-of-the-road, ho-hum Christian life. You will be completely unsatisfied without an outflow. You have to have some expression of that knowledge. So if that thought is coming into your mind of, I'm done with Bible college, just going to take a couple years off, it's just throw that right out. Just throw it out. So how do you have an outflow? How do you increase your outflow? How do you become more effective with information that you've learned in the last 2 years? I have 4 ways, pared down from about 20. So this is the cream of the crop. First off, this is important. Be an agent of change exactly where you are right now. I know all of us have these godly desires for big things, and you'll get there. You'll get them. But that's not where you are right now. Where you're at right now is where you can have the most impact. 5 days ago, my dad contacted me. I'm not super close to my father. And I had this very short email that said, "Hey, Tony, I've been diagnosed with kidney cancer, and I may need to reach out for some help." And, that was just about it. So my initial reaction was probably what anybody would be, right? Like, crud, nobody wants to hear that. I don't want to hear that from a complete stranger, let alone someone in my family. But you know what happened about a half a second after that? Like a well-trained soldier, my training kicked in, right? I started thinking, okay, how can I bring life into this situation? He's reaching out to me. I know he's not saved. What can I do? And so I called him that evening, and we had probably the first heart-to-heart that I've ever had with my dad, and he's 67. I just flat out told him, I said, "Listen, I'm a Christian. I teach at Life Bible College. I'd be totally amiss if I didn't find out where your eternity was." And so he started talking, and it's been poured into me for so long that the things that he had a problem with, we're knocking him down, I just gave him the gospel, told him I was there for him. The point of that story is, there's people like that in your life right now who need your help. I get it. You want to dominate the world. We all do. I have a plan. Come over, we'll talk about it. You think I'm joking? I'm not. Honestly, I'm not. But there's people that need your help right now. That's the first expression of your knowledge. The second way to have more of an outflow, be more effective doer, is get connected to the right people and stay connected. Connections create opportunities and also allow others to speak into your life. Do you want to know how, this will be a very brief story, but do you want to know how I came here right now? I'm giving the commencement speech. It's crazy if you were to map it all the way back to the beginning. How it happened was I was presented with the option of running the soundboard at the old church. And my thinking was, there's no way I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'd even be good at it. But what I can do is I can play the guitar. So I thought, I'll just join the worship team. So this was back when Pastor Mark played. Back in the days, his pants were a little tighter. Hair was a little longer, a little wilder. But, I got to know Pastor Mark a little bit. There's still friends that I met back then that I'm friends with today. Shortly after Pastor Joe came on board, I became good friends with him. He decided that he would go to Bible college, and I thought, you know what? I'd rather be writing music, but Joe's going, and I'm probably not going to have a lot of time to write, so seems like a good idea to go with him. That was the extent. No golden scrolls, no angelic visits. It drastically changed my life because of those connections. Later, after we graduated, we started developing some of the course material, presented it to the worship ministry. I think I talked to Pastor Mark. He was on board for having it in the Bible college. Fast forward 5 years, here I am. And how did it start? I think I'll just get connected to a ministry. Never would have been able to see that back then, but that's the genesis of it. And that it works that way for every single person. It's like plugging into the outlet. Doink. That's how you get juice. You got to be plugged in to get juice. You guys ready for the fourth way to have more outflow? This is an important one. Carve out and protect time to pursue the desires of God, the desires that he places in your heart. You need to protect your time like a mama bear protects her cubs. Now, if you remember all the way back to my introduction, Pastor Bill, I've done some stuff since I've graduated, yes. I've written some books, I've developed some courses. The only reason I'm bringing that up is nearly 100% of all of that work was done between 5:30 and 7:30 a.m. I had to set that aside to pursue those desires or they would not happen. There's just no way around that. I'm not saying you have to get up early. Maybe you're a night person. The point is protect it. Because if you don't, the cares of the world are going to come in and fill up that space. They just will. The cares of the world are interesting because they will consume whatever space you give them. Sort of like my stomach when I put on pants. Got a little space? Boom. That's the cares of the world. And you guys are leaving Bible college and you have space. What are you going to put in that space? Because if you don't decide what's going there, something will decide for you. Make a plan and stick to it. Lastly, here's my fourth way to be a more effective doer of what you've learned here. Do things with excellence. Do your homework and prepare. Now, the obvious reason is it qualifies you for bigger and better things because how you handle yourself in the small will dictate what bigger things you get to do in the future. The way I like to look at this is excellence is your part after you receive a leading from God. Did you get that? Excellence is your part. God says, hey, Tony, I would like you to do that. My response is, yes, sir, I will do it with excellence. As a baseline, how I try to approach things, this is like my baseline. What would a paid professional in this field who had to feed their kids do to be successful? That's my starting point. Money should not matter because it's a character thing. And we all know that character is one of the easiest ways to disqualify yourself from just about anything. So as a quick example, because music is near and dear to my heart, if you're on the worship team, do you show up early so people don't have to wait on you? Do you practice? How much do you practice? Do you take lessons? Right? Do you know your material cold? I mean, this is just stuff right off my head, but that's what excellence looks like. The goal here is to be prepared, but be open to being led. So on one extreme over here is God does everything. Another extreme over here is I do everything. Now there's this sweet Goldilocks zone in the middle, right? And for most things, that's where you want to sit. Now I recognize in some examples, maybe you have to get more in a ditch and that's fine. I'm not trying to make a religion. I'm just saying, do your homework. Do what would be expected of someone who really cares about what they're doing. Is everyone okay? I don't think I've seen anyone walk out yet, which is one of my worries. Now, lastly, I want to finish with a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Listen, this is up there with faith, grace, love, healing, prosperity. Want to know what it is? Patience. I think I heard a boo. I heard a boo. That's cold. So we can read in Hebrews 6:12 here that you do not become sluggish, but imitate those who through faith and patience inherit the promises of God. So repeat after me. Faith and patience. And as humans, we do not like patience. We do not like waiting. Right? So wait a second, Tony. You're telling me I might have to wait? Yep. Can I get a pill for that? No. You just can't. This is part of God's system. There's seed time and harvest. There's always a waiting period in there. And the bigger the things, the longer you may have to wait. I mean, we can read in Hebrews 11, right, the hall of faith. You can just go down the list of people who were believing God, and some of them had to wait for a long time. But you want to know why they're in there? Because they didn't give up. If they were to rewrite Hebrews 11 right now, would you be in it? Would you be in it? Would you be in it? Right? What was one of the key ingredients? Patience and faith. So I can guarantee you, there's very few things I can guarantee you in life, but this is one of them. I guarantee you, things will not happen as fast as you want them to happen. All right? But the way I kind of look at this is just accept it. It's just part of the game. It's part of the system. Okay? So don't get frustrated and quit. I've seen person after person fall off the rails because they got impatient. And it's not just waiting, it's how you wait. That's what patience is. Now, it's super easy to get frustrated when you're not seeing the results that you want. But realize that big dreams require a lot of resources, a lot of people, and they have a will of their own. You could be in the right place at the right time waiting for someone else to be obedient. You could also be the very first piece of a gigantic puzzle that God is putting together. But He can count on you, right? You're LBC graduates. He can count on you to be the first piece. I know He can. Listen, as I wrap this up, because I know I'm about at 20 minutes, I consider each and every one of you a friend. I've taught you 3 classes, seen you for 2 years. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak life into your life. And if there's anything I can do to move you further down your path, you have my contact information. I'd be more than happy to talk, meet, help, whatever I can do to unblock you. I'm excited for what God has for you. This is a huge step in your future, and there's nothing but good things in store for you. So let me pray for you, will you? God, thank you for the work that you're doing here at Life Church and the lives of these graduates. I ask that you open their eyes to see opportunities where they can apply what they've learned here over these past 2 years. I thank you for the divine connections and resources they'll need as they walk out your calling. I ask that you reawaken those desires that you've placed in their hearts that may have grown cold due to time or that they don't see how it's going to work out. We acknowledge that you're our source, and we continue to believe for those things that you've revealed to us. We love you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you.